In this video, I'll show you the steps I use to create a 3D model of a pie in Autodesk Fusion. First, we'll create a component and start a sketch with a circle for the widest part of the pie. We'll set this to 50 millimeters. Then we'll select the area to extrude for the lip of the pie pan. Use the keyboard shortcut E for extrude and extrude it for a distance of 2 at a taper angle of 45 degrees. And that's the top portion of the pie pan. Now we'll create the bottom portion by selecting this face and extruding it downwards by 7 millimeters. And I'll need to use negative here to extrude it to the right side. And set the taper angle to -30 for this nice shape. And now we have a pie pan. Next step, let's create the pie crust. We'll create the sketch on the top of the pie pan and offset the outer edge by -1 millimeter for the outer part of the crust. Then we'll offset that same edge again, this time by -5 millimeters to create the inner part of the crust. Now select the ring of crust and extrude it by 2.4 millimeters. Now we have the basic shape of the pie crust. Let's pause on the modeling and let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Let's turn off the sketches so we can see this a little bit more clearly. It's not as cluttered. And don't forget to rename your bodies so it's a little easier for you to see what's what. It'll come in handy later. And it's just good practice. So here I've labeled one body as pan and the other as crust. Let's go ahead and make the pan a silvery color. And you can get to this by right-clicking on the body and going to Appearance. And let's choose a nice tan color for the pie crust. And just drag and drop it to the name of the body to apply it. Let's duplicate this tan color and change it to green for the pie filling later on. Now that we've got that all taken care of, let's close out of this and get back to modeling. To decorate the pie crust, let's go ahead and create a sketch on the top of the pie crust and add a text to the inner edge of the pie crust. Type in the pi symbol by either going to Special Characters keyboard, or you can Google it and copy paste it there. And I'm using Roboto black font at a height of 5 millimeters and placing the text above the path. Now that we have our pie symbol, I'm going to extrude it to cut into the pie crust. And I'm selecting -1 millimeters for extrusion. And I'll go ahead and turn off the sketch so you can see how it looks now. To make the pie crust look less boxy, I'm going to add a 2 millimeter fillet on the inner edge and a 1 millimeter fillet on the outer edge. And here's what it looks like. To create pie symbols all the way around the pie crust, I'll use Create Pattern, Circular Pattern, and Features as the object type. And I'll select the Extrude feature in the timeline and one of the edges of the crust as the axis, and set it to have 33 pie symbols around. Press OK to complete the pattern. And while we're waiting for this to apply, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to see more of this kind of content. Next step is to create the filling. I'll go ahead and unhide sketch 2 so I can access the portion that I want to use as the pie filling. I'll select that and extrude it by 0.4 millimeters. So this will be just 2 layers of filament with my 0.2 millimeters layer height. And select new body so I can color that separately. And make sure to rename the body to filling. And right click on it to go to Appearance and find that green color and drag and drop that to apply. Now it's time to make the whipped cream. So first we'll go ahead and create a sketch on the pie filling and create the circle for about 10 millimeter base of a whipped cream. And I'll extrude that up by 5 millimeters at a taper angle of -45. We'll create that as a new body. And of course, rename that to whipped cream and set the color to a nice white. So we'll just drag and drop that there. To make it look more like a dollop of whipped cream, I'm going to construct a tangent plane and then select the whipped cream for where I want the tangent plane to be at, and then just hit OK to create it. Then creating a sketch on that plane and doing a fit point spline to create roughly where I want that swirl to be. And I'll need to adjust some of these points to make it fit more along the whipped cream. Okay, that's pretty good. Now to create a pipe that follows along that path that I created. And I'll set this to section size of 1 millimeter and make sure the operation is cut and that it only cuts through the whipped cream. And press OK. And then make some minor adjustments so it fits better and it looks better now that I can preview it. Now I'll want that same cutout around the other sides of the whipped cream. So I'll use pattern. So to go to create, pattern, circular pattern, and select features. And I'll select the pipe feature from the timeline and set to a quantity of 6. And now I have a whipped cream. Next, I'll want to create whipped cream pieces all around the pie. So I'll also use the circular pattern. So I'll go up to create, pattern, circular pattern, and select the body this time, and select the whipped cream piece, and the axis of the crust, and a quantity of 6. And that's the completed pie. What do you think? And to finish it off, we want to export it as an STL file. So we'll want to right click on the pie component, save as mesh, and press OK, and save it.